The next video is the next installment for the world's greatest ghosts, and we're up to a Rover's return. Cecil Barth had just driven past a wrecked German tank during World War II when a sandstorm struck. The Royal Air Force mechanic, returning to his Libyan base after a supply trip, decided to wait it out. He sat reading a dog-eared magazine and drinking beer given to him earlier by some Australian pals. As a gust of wind shook his three-ton truck, Cecil looked up and saw a lone uniformed figure in the whirling dust. He beckoned the man to the lorry and told him to jump in. Both sheltered from the lashing sand outside, chatting and swigging beer. The stranger, wearing a khaki uniform without any insignia, spoke in a clipped, rather stilted accent, but after 2 years of desert warfare, Cecil paid no heed to the rather ragged look and put the accent down to either South African or Dutch, both fighting alongside the Allies. As they drank, the Englishman noticed his stranded companion had a raw burn on his right hand and arm. He urged the stranger to get medical attention, but the only response was a chilling laugh and the words, "It's a bit late for that. Anyway, it doesn't matter." But Cecil did discover that he and his eerie companion had something in common. Before the war, both had been Rover scouts and had attended an international jamboree in southern England. Daylight had begun to fade as the wind dropped, and the RAF man decided to make a run for his camp. He offered the stranger a lift, but he shook his head. "I'm going in the other direction," he said. "Thank you for the beer." The man stepped down from the truck and they shook hands. "God watch over you, Tommy," said the stranger. Cecil felt that the hand he was shaking was cold and stiff. Cecil drove away, but there was no trace of the uniformed figure in the rearview mirror. He got out to look, but all he could see was the wrecked shell of the enemy tank. Later that week, Cecil returned to the airfield by motorbike just as a recovery crew was hauling the tank wreck onto a transporter. He stopped to look, and the corporal in charge told him that the tank driver had died at the controls a month before when the tank was hit in the turret by a shell. They had laid the body out under canvas. Cecil lifted the makeshift shroud. There, with decaying skin and dead eyes, was his beer-drinking desert companion of a few days earlier. Shaken, Cecil dropped the ground sheet. He clambered onto the tank wreck and peered into the half-light. Glinting in the sunlight, he could see an Australian beer bottle. And that ends that installment for the world's greatest ghosts.